Now, BHL again probes the mysterious world of the Millenials to reveal how and what young America thinks. It's another spine-tingling journey into Yaffee World. And Yaffee's got a very interesting survey and the results thereof at the beginning of today's visit to Yaffee World. Buddy, what do you got?
Well, yeah, the survey comes from Harvard. It's interesting because it says 1 in 2 millennials, 1 in 2 people of the Yaffee generation, believe the U.S. criminal justice system is unfair. So they don't trust the justice system, and they frankly think it's unfair. Now, according to the survey, there's a lot of different, American institutions that they distrust. The federal government's really low on the list. The media is even lower on the list, which is really interesting.
From what I see on this survey, the only institutions that are well regarded by the Yaffee generation are the military and America's scientists. Everybody else, a very, very cynical view on the part of young Americans.
Right. And so that begs the question, why?
Yeah.
Why is it that people in my generation don't trust these things? Now, there's some validity to not trusting them. Obviously, our federal government doesn't do the best job it could. Obviously, the media could be a lot better. But I think there's something else, and I was trying to figure this out, and then I saw an editorial in the Investor Business Daily that he pointed out that really made a lot of sense.
Okay, what did it say?
He made the argument that people in my generation have not been properly educated about these institutions. So we're not properly educated in our schools, in our liberal public schools, and even in the universities. And because we're not educated about them, we don't really understand them. And what we don't understand, we either fear or we don't like.
I think you're raising a great point there, and I think I'd love to get your take on this, Yaffee.
Yes.
It seems to me that may be a case of, we don't have the same kind of curriculum we used to have, and these things are not being taught in depth, but also,
sure.
particularly at the college level, okay? But I think also it seeps down into our high schools. A lot of the academics who have control of the classroom are liberal, and they have an anti-American bias against our institutions and our traditions, and these young Americans get indoctrinated that way.
It seems to be going that way, and it's very, very interesting. You said high school and college. I think it even goes before that. There was a new survey from the National Assessment of Educational Progress that found less than a quarter of 8th graders tested are proficient in civics, geography, and U.S. history. So that means in elementary school and middle school, and I'm sure in high school, and I'm sure in college, we're not taught about these things. We're not taught politics. We're not taught about how the criminal justice system really works. We're not taught about how the government really works and how great it is compared to the rest of the world and to history, for that matter.
Well, I think if this trend holds,
yes,
it's unbelievably dangerous and corrosive, is it not?
Yes.
For the future of this country.
Well, because you'll have, frankly, you can have riots like you have in Baltimore where they don't, instead of protesting peacefully or instead of doing it at the ballot box or instead of doing it through the system, you're having people that don't believe in the system anymore. So they're not going to vote, they're not going to participate, and that's very dangerous for the future of the country. And democracy in a republic can't work if people are not participating in the system.
Yeah, and as was pointed out in that Investors Daily piece that you directed me to here, it is, and I agree with this, it is disquieting to see that America's young adults have so little faith in the institutions of the richest, freest nation ever.
Right.
The institutions, I think, obviously need to be strengthened and need to be reformed in many cases and be improved.
Right.
But you can't have a nation remain great when the people who are coming into maturity and will take control don't believe in it.
Yeah, and they have to believe in it to participate in it. So it's very interesting, very disquieting. Hopefully I can be a part of educating them since they're not getting it in the schools. And by the way, speaking of that,
yeah,
I have my show tonight, Beyond Reason, tonight at 8 p.m., so there's a chance right there for me to talk to my generation a little bit.
Right. Yaffee takes over the 50,000-watt front porch tonight for an hour, and the phone call numbers are the same. It's Prime Time Yaffee.
Yep, and that is what's going on here in Yaffee World.
Join us next time for another illuminating journey into the mind of the millennials in Yaffee World.